Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. Today I've got a oil short move from sort of late evening last night, just after sort of this OPEC meeting we've had the last sort of couple of days. And just on you get a couple of positive comments that we had yesterday, and sort of the fact that the market managed not to be able to hold it. You got all the coronavirus and everything else coming into play, and I was always looking for a short throughout the day. Anyway. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about how sort of the thought process and how I structured it, just how everything went throughout the day, and wait until the evening for something, is possibly likely to happen or not likely. Just trying to understand the direction of the market and where it wants to go, and how I factored in, managed to get on the short, and sort of my original idea throughout the whole day was to do that. And I just wanted to put it into these 4-5 sections on sort of the technical lessons, on just going through everything, bit of the structure, some footprint, just how that has come back into play a little bit more as the markets have sort of thinned out a bit and there's more rotations. It's been a lot harder. You've had to change your footprints as well with volatility, and especially that this week massively I've been struggling quite a lot on how everything's sort of been going, and the volatility has completely changed. That's how I've sort of struggled. So my execution is, to be honest, was good. It's just had the holding and all these different types of things. And then I'll just go for sort of the live execution of it and sort of how I managed it, and then what else I could do better afterwards. So sort of the approach to it, what we had was what I was looking for. What we failed a lot to do in the day was have a good offer and etc. But coming into the day, this is just the cash profile. I have the other on the next slide. So we had an inside day on everything, on all sessions. We had 2 sort of weak closes that I felt like we had on the week. We had the positive OPEC comments about cutting 1.5. That managed to not hold. Then the cash session failed to take the initial balance and come back in. Then you can look for the break of the bottom side, similar to what we had here in this one, where we did this sort of a little failure, and then breaking out sort of the initial balance, etc. Sort of a bit tied to afternoon trading, sort of what we had. And the big risk off, and you still got the virus which is affecting the markets, and that's why you're seeing all the equities coming off again the last couple of days, especially like this morning. And you're looking for oil to come in and do exactly the same. And also just looking at the price action, that they had no sort of real, energy to the downside. I managed to try and sell it once. I even went long into so I sort of changed my mind, is that I eventually went long and trying to play the break of this top side to sort of trade back higher, which then we sort of failed here. And then once you're rolling back down, then I was like, okay, well, if you're going to churn and we're going to go sideways, eventually we might get that sort of move down, which eventually is what we got. So at the beginning of the day, what I was thinking is that, so you've got open there and you've got the other open here. So that we've managed to test up, and then we've closed lower. So you've got sort of, bearish candle on the daily. Again, you've had a nice test higher, failed to get, you just balance the profile out again, balance the day out, failed higher, and then you've closed here. So again, you both 2 days that you've closed out of values being in the same place. So then you come in, this is the next day, so you open here, you've tested up, and you've sort of failed. So you've come back in to sort of do this, sort of fill the bottom of these 2 areas out, which I was looking for, break of the inside day for then this trade, and then you've got that low and these lows to continue, which we didn't do that. We struggled. I was trying to sell in the morning, and I didn't, lost money doing it that way. So then you sort of balance out this sort of outside of value, and then looking later on in the day for this to continue. Once we did get this, I think this was the area, was sort of the low, this point. I ended up changing my mind on target wise, so I felt like there's nothing really here. This can just keep continuing. So you've got sort of this area to target, then you had another low down here, and then the actual low of the day. So overall, that's how I was sort of thinking and just editing throughout the day, and sort of how you want to, not necessarily change your mind. I ended up just targeting the VPOC, which we bounced off perfectly. And we closed, and obviously today we've offered quite a lot after we're failing, sort of holding outside of the value this time in sort of today. So you've got that low volume point where we've had risk off overnight and the continuation. So that's exactly what I was looking for. Eventually we got it. Sometimes you just have to wait and sort of work hard throughout the day, especially when you get in such a choppy mess. Again, sort of the bigger structure, this is more on a 15-minute time frame of sort of trended back up after that big offer we had a couple of weeks last week. Sort of trended down, then we've come back up and now gone sideways. So to trade sort of having a look of just a simple like triangle structure. So we've had all these sort of failing up higher, creating sort of a bottom, and then this day what we've had is had a couple of OPEC comments. This one was 1.5 cut, some more mess in here, had a big offer, and now we've just sort of created a really tight range where now you're holding these two lows. So now your key support really, if you want to be long, is here, which I did try to, which managed to get long in here and sort of run it up to here. Then sort of try something different for me, having a bigger stop, because you're having such a bad offer necessarily, just being absorbed, no real energy until you did get that later energy throughout the day. So it was sort of this structure you're looking at throughout the day, sort of that little sort of triangle. You obviously had these lows. So where you're looking for is you want to try, for me, you want to be trying to get in somewhere in this area, but you want to see the change, say, from higher up and coming off. So sort of that area where you just want to put something in and you want to see the change. So when you see the price action in all of these areas, you want to see the direct change of bit of energy, more pace, more size. You don't want to see the bid sit there and absorb it. You want to see trade, you want to see the offer come back each time. So it's when you're having it as well, you're just failing every time to go higher. Therefore, my other thought was that you had positive comments. So if this, this can't offer, then I felt like we could then rally. That's why I tried to get on the first time. But it's that sort of late, where we had sort of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock move where you get the final offer or even bids sometimes. So again, that was the cut one, the fight 1.5, and then you had an offer and buyers are picking it up. So your real zone is sort of, for me, was in here and then this zone, and that's the low of the day. And you want to find that direct energy change in here, looking for the break of sort of this little sort of trend line, I suppose you want to call it. And then you want to see the injection of sort of directional trade. Volume picks up. Also, what you want to look at, delta's coming off all day. So that spike here is that candle, and then since then you're going. So what you want to look at is just comparing these. So you just get in that sort of downward selling coming in, and the market's not being able to go bid. So then you want to see a change, maybe a bit of thickness in delta where you can get short, where a lot of selling's happening in a 5 minute. Have a bigger stop, just looking for that injection and drive lower. So just different ways of structuring it. So looking at that, to me, you're just seeing buyers failing sort of in this zone. And as soon as you're out of that and go higher, and you just want to, just like I've been saying, you just want to see the change. Something I always look for is just the change. And all I was doing all I held it to was this one. That was just my change in direction of the target, the way we've been through the day. The offer wasn't fantastic, not that real drive You had the pullback, just simple sort of technical stuff, which is where I sort of benefit from. Just from a Renko point of view, something else I just wanted to show you is that this was the initial balance high where you've just gone sideways. Say even throughout the day, gone sideways, you've ticked out of it, ticked a few ticks out, come back in, held it, and then we've come off, and then you're just creating all these little lows where you can trend through, and it's straight lines. But it does come a little bit choppy, holds a little tiny sort of, block, comes out, and we have that next leg lower, and then we fail and then slowly drift back down. And then overnight we go a bit sideways, and you see again, the delta is just going down. Yeah, that high, look, you see that high volume, 3 or 4 ticks range or 7 tick range where you have a bit of high volume and a bit of absorption going on, especially what you see in the footprint. So it's just something else to keep you in. What I ended up doing was just letting it run. Just left the one lot and just going, stick to your plan, stick to your target. You made a bit of money, so then let it go. So footprint wise, I haven't really seen too much of this being going on recently. Without the rotations, you've had to be changing, especially in gold, you've had to be changing your footprints. For me, sticking to the 10 tick rotations and just want to be sticking to them. So after we had the bid up where I went long on this, we had a fail up higher, and then we sort of built some structure sideways. So you got that absorption at the bottom, top, a little bit of selling going on in here. Then you had the last sort of rotation where you had a little bit of delta coming off a little bit, not too much going on yet. So you had 3,000 here, 5,000 here. Another quick test, and then you probably got a quick bid up, and then you get the full back down, and then that buyer has then disappeared where it's been holding up. And then these are the sort of areas when you've got the direction, these work really well. It's when you don't, because when you can get caught out, say buying here, even in here if you want to try and buy, or in here. This, I always notice they do catch you out, but as long as you've got the direction of the trade, I find everything can work such to your benefit, using it with higher confidence, and as long as you're keeping an eye on the price action and what it's necessarily doing. But for me, I didn't start selling, I don't think, till 44s, I don't think. So it's already broken through this. What I've been waiting for was the injection of a bit of energy and change, not getting caught out, because what I did do, like I say, I sold 57s and I got out here. So this was the original trade. I gave myself a big stop, put it above that rotation what we had here. And I actually got stops at 74s. I gave myself a big stop just so maybe we had scaled in some more like I could have maybe done here, but I didn't. I had my stop nearly 20 ticks. So just something different I was trying to do there, and have the bigger picture view, try and get something on, have a stop. To be honest, even if I felt like if I sold anywhere else, I still would have had my stop above that point. But in hindsight, it should have been above there, but I didn't know it was going to go there. So though the other areas you could have been short just before this. So then we do break lower. We have a little bit of congestion again. Like I say, you've got that direction. And then again, you get that block where it starts to churn. So this is me getting out all in this sort of zone. And then going, okay, look, we've left low volume, put your stop, where I put my stop was, I think, 36, 38. And then again, you have sort of that block area where pulls back, does that high bit of volume, like I was saying, you do, 7,000, and then you have no positive delta at all, just a 10-minute rotation there. And then you break out the block, and then selling starts to come in, more heavier selling than you did in this zone. And again, we sort of roll over and we sort of jump down, spike down to those 91s or 92s where we had that VPOC and we bounced away. Again, just small things to keep an eye on sort of throughout the day. But I'm going to talk to you through the how this trade went. I just want to show you sort of the execution of this. I'll let this go. Just watch this from the beginning. I could talk through this. So also we had risk off at the same time. So you got, so you still got everything going on. Just to be aware, again, you just wanted to see the change for me at this point. So you got, okay. Right. So you've got all your markets again. So you want, what I wanted to see was a bit of an injection of speed. You had risk off, so you got S&P, Euro stocks, gold, bonds, all the other currencies as well. So you want to see that bit of risk off. So you're trying to lean on that as well at the same time. And where I'm coming in is that I saw the injection of speed. You can see that coming in. Then you just want to see everything else still go. Oil can sometimes not play part in this. But again, I'm just looking for that injection into these lows. I really felt you could still be aggressive into these lows. That you've got that compact area where you've kept testing each time. So as we're coming lower, then you want to see, want to see size come in. So each time you want to see the offer reloading each time. So again, I'm willing to take quite a bit of risk again on this trade, just from the overall sort of picture of everything. And see, you still got your, Euro stocks, bonds, gold going higher, S&P. So again, you're just keeping an eye on all of these markets. So this trade is still valid at this point. You're still doing that smaller rotations low, and then you just, like I'm saying, you want to see that injection you get as you come lower. When you get sort of 60 lots on the sort of the bid, you just want to see it get taken. You want to see all these other markets keep going. So at this point, everything is perfectly fine. So as we start to, eventually we start to offer, you've got these small rotations. So you're holding those 36, 37s at the moment. And then you get S&P coming off down to its lows, where that can be your trigger as well at the same time. So I still felt you could be aggressive into this. So again, just always keeping an eye on where the other markets are trading. So again, just trying to rotate, trying to bid higher, which we failed to bid higher. Now you get a bit more selling, S&P's into its lows. So now you're sort of through the 36, 37s, had that little jump down. You want to see that hold. You want to see 20, 30 lots keep trading into the prices. So there you got 30, 40 lots, and then you get that jump. So then I hit more into sort of, I think, 27s, 26s. And then you still got all the, S&P's at lows, Euro stocks, bonds at highs, gold's come off a little bit. So, and you left that little low volume area. So where I felt I was wrong is if I started to go, 3 or 4 ticks offside. So then again, I'm willing to, I'll scratch most of it. And then maybe if I go offside, then work it in again. And then, exactly the same, then reposition yourself. So me personally, at this point, I was feeling quite calm. I feel like I'm really right. And then all the sellers start to get quite heavier than the other markets. So I'm willing to try and hold this, as much as I can. And it comes again where it starts to stall, and then I do the little panic thing, you start to see the offer, see everything else. This is to me where I should, to my benefit, I should then, I start to try and scale out something, and then try and put loads, I put bids down, sort of have 91s, where I want to see this just keep continuing, trying to hold the whole thing. In hindsight, I should have been holding the whole thing, just try and scale the whole move down, letting it do it. So, but as long as we're still below sort of 30s, you're okay, or below my price at this point. And this is where I get caught. So you had that, like I showed you on the footprint, you had that little bit small area of where you're doing that churning point. You just need to lean on that a bit more. I personally didn't look at the footprint at all throughout this whole trade, that is my my own fault. Again, but you still want to lean on your risk off at the same time. Yes, the S&P's bounced 3 handles, but at the moment, that's naturally what it's been doing quite easily, pulling back 10 handles, big squeezes. But then also throughout the whole week, I've struggled a lot. So this is the first time I've got on a good trade with size, and you're right. So therefore, I should just not be panicking. I should just be sitting there, sitting on your hands, just trusting your full plan. So that tipping point tool that I've been talking about, need to just sort of understand that a bit more to my benefit. And to me, it's like the trade in the OPEC comment this morning we had, got out much too quick. So again, you just want to still keep an eye. This trade's working, perfectly fine at the moment. There's no reason to get out. I scared out of 3, that's fine. I still got half. In my mind at this point, I was thinking, well, if I get out of 4, cover that and then run the other 4. Again, I seem to scale out too quickly. I had the bigger picture trade in my mind, or the trade in my mind. Just need to let this, maybe for me, put more of the size on, and then just accept that you're right and don't get out. Or again, I don't mind scaling out like I put my bids down, but I need to not, keep scaling out too quickly like I do here, sort of, covered over half now. I should really let the 3 go, because there's still like 25 ticks at this point, where there's still good money to be made on the trade, even with 3 lots there. Because at the point is, what I will do towards the end is that I leave 1 lot going, and just going, I'm going to stick to my idea, which is probably a good positive thing that I did. As we're still trading like this, we're still like hugging the lows. S&P's done nearly 10 handles from the 27s down. Oil's not really gone that far. Everything's still at extremes. I think yen's gone miles off the page as well at this point. So you've got big dollar weakness as well. So now, again, just that extra bit of hard work that you've done, you're sort of sitting through the hard work, and then you just want to let the winner come into play. And not be scared about what it does here, is that it pulls back. As long as you keep, because you've got that injection, you've got that spike, you want to just leave it to hold there and let the trade go. I could have happily just, left 2 lots there, but then sometimes you think of how much you've given back, especially when you're trading with a bit more size. I should just be letting this go. It's like comments, I can let things go with comments, because I think because you've got that injection, you've got that drive, it's like sort of quick. But to me personally, I was much happier with how I traded it, when eventually I'll get out with, say, 1 more, and then I just put a stop in, I think 36, 38. And again, that's when we did that pullback. And you just, possibly sometimes, for me, what I did yesterday was just leave the trade alone and just walk away from the desk, because you can get enticed in with, when you're watching this, that am I right, am I wrong? Because all you're doing is rotating a little bit, and that was what was playing through my mind. So I eventually just went, okay, stop, target, we're going to go, we're just going to leave it. And you come away with like 40 ticks in the end. So to me, that's much better. For me, again, throughout this whole thing, you've had S&P at lows, everything is in play. Maybe oils can be the harder one to be trading when you have these risk offs. That's what I've noticed. Sometimes the oil will just do its own thing, and it won't copy the S&P, it won't copy risk off. Sometimes you just get the correlation just between these two, you don't get it with others. And again, you had like this 300 lot, what comes on the offer, you don't really want to see that be taken. To me, I like to see them as a continuation. He chases down, then gets filled. And you want to see more of that size like come down. You don't want to see it then trade back through. You want to see maybe more sellers come in. But for me, you just have to just trust everything that's going on and not get sucked into price action too much. That's what I've noticed this week. You've seen big structure. You want to just leave the trades to go. Like we had gold yesterday, going, a long way, and technically the trade works, but price action can spook you out. Big 30-40 tick squeezes can spook you out. If you look on the hourly chart, if you just go by hourly bars, etc., that's how it should be done. That's how I should be doing it. I see it. So it's just hard management of the trade. It just then comes into sort of like game management, trade management, etc. So at this point, all I do is I'll put my stop above my prices, say 36, 38, where I feel like we've rejected that low volume, and then we should turn over again. I'm not sure, I don't think it's this point it does this. So again, we do the pullback, we do much more volume, and then eventually we come off and we spike down. So to me, sort of the benefit I had from the trade was leaving my target alone. Just a few little extra pointers towards the end is earlier entries where you could have been a bit more passive and try and justify the direction earlier. Therefore, where you start to get that injection of speed, higher volume being traded, you can put more size on in that area where I may be getting in, like we spoke before, I get in at those times. When it's been a bit choppy and you're trying to sell, that can also be a problem. So you want to try and be passive and, like I'm saying, just sell higher each time, letting it go on side and being more passive. Not to scale out so quickly. As in, when I say scale out so quickly, you notice I start panicking a bit when it's not going. Just need to justify that part. I don't mind putting my bids all the way down towards my target, which I think is much more beneficial because you're banking something all the way down and you're banking that bit of chunk of size as you're moving lower. Because maybe also this week, like I said, I struggled a lot. So banking something and then trying to let something run. I don't usually ever let things run. I always panic with things because that's just the way this barrier I have of doing that. And yesterday, you break that little bit of a barrier, you're knocking it down slightly where you're running a 1, so next time then you run 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. Just a bit more size. And you obviously had the risk of continuing, so you want to be able to leaning on other things, like I'm saying, just need to lean on those other tools, being aware of where everything is, which I felt like I was aware, but like I said, wasn't looking at the footprint enough, didn't actually look at the Renko enough, just smaller things that you just go, well, I'm right, how can we lean on something else? And just then having your high own conviction, you're keeping yourself in much longer. So there's sort of the 3 points where I feel like I went wrong, but then you got the next trade, sort of trying something different, having bigger stops is what I was trying to do. So then you can work and manage the position, accepting that at this point in the day, I was basically flat on the day. The other 3 days of this week have been really difficult. They have been, the worst week I've had until, yesterday's trade. But that's how I just need the few things I need to be able to justify and work on when you've got on these, these extra technical 30, 40 tick moves, etc. And that's those tipping points. But it's good for me to go through these trades in quite a lot of detail and talk you through the price action. It makes me notice it a lot more, and then hopefully that can build into smaller ideas for your trading as well. But normal information, if you want to get in touch, info@axiafutures.com. I'll be back next week, guys, with another stream. Cheers.